This is Morning Juice. Sports, insight, and great storytelling. Starring Bobby Carpenter and Jeff Tito Thidoff. It's time to attack and dominate.
Good morning. It is a Friday here on Morning Juice. I'm Tito, Bobby Carpenter, my left. Nate running things today. A much-deserved long weekend for Mark the Shark. Bobby, how are you today, my friend?
I'm doing well, Thidoff. It's a Friday. Feeling good about life. Excited about that. So, can't really complain too much outside of the fact other than this morning my wife got this, you ever see like an apple slicer? One of the like
an apple corer thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of people have those now.
We do it so we don't have to cut the apples for the kids.
Yeah. Well, you do. It's just one.
I don't.
Well,
yeah.
Maybe not for you as much,
Right.
but it makes your wife's. It's a creature comfort in the first world. You sit there, bam, press it through. It cores the apple. It slices it.
Yeah.
Pull that thing apart. Give them to the kids. And so my wife found one of these, something similar to that, that does that for watermelons.
Okay.
So it's the same thing.
With the big watermelon, does it?
You have to cut the watermelon in half.
Okay.
And then you do the same thing. It slices it out.
Okay.
And
I like it.
It's pretty good. So we had it in the dishwasher yesterday, and I went to reach in. This morning I always open the dishwasher, make sure everything's good. If there's cups that flipped over, I dump them, drain them, so they'll be dry, so the kids can put
the finger.
Yeah, and I reached in, it was stuck, and I couldn't figure out what was going on, and the two shelves were stuck. I put my hand in there, and the sharp blades part were facing out. It was very sharp, and so it stabbed the middle of my finger, so I have a vertical slice. It cut some of my fingernail. So this morning, that's what I was leaning in on and getting done. That was not the exciting day that I had hoped, or exciting way I'd hoped to start the day, but that's what happened. So outside of that, everything is pretty good.
Not that we're not different in a lot of ways already, but one of the ways I think we're different, Bobby, is you allow for times like that. Like, you get up early enough to where if something like that happens, you're still going to be here in plenty of time.
Well, I cut my finger. It was just it was a 3-minute detour. I had to go over, get a Band-Aid, get some athletic tape the Band-Aid on, because the Band-Aid's around the tip of my finger, vertically, and not wrapped around my fingers, on a circumference basis, or circumference basis.
I get but I've got mine down to a minute. If anything falls off the side, if something goes wrong in the morning, I mean, you get up a lot earlier, so you go out and do that. But I've got my morning timed out. If there is any kind of hiccup, Bobby, there's a chance you won't see me in here on time.
Believe me, I'm all about efficiency. But today, I get up and I took my son, my oldest, he had workouts and everything beforehand for football, so I had to make sure we were out the door to take him there at 5:20, and so. And I had some more time, to figure it out. And mostly it's just making sure, hey, dude, did you eat? Are you up? What's going on? Are you ready to go? Oh, Dad, come on. Yeah, dude.
5:20 a.m. you had to be out the door?
Yeah, it starts at 5:30. So,
holy cow.
I mean, and that's the latest. I would like to drop them off earlier to get in here. So, yeah, they start at 5:30 on Fridays and normally at 6. So I drop them off about 5:35, 5:40 on most days. And then today I drop them off at about 5:25. And head on in. So, yeah, they're wrapping up their final full week of school, and then they have finals next week, and kids will be out on Thursday. So, pretty excited for all of that to transpire. But, yeah, that's life in the big city, Thidoff.
Nate, how are you this morning, brother?
Doing all right. I managed to make myself wake up today. I'm not used to the morning show thing, so I'm here. I've got caffeine in me. I'm good to roll.
All right, here we go then. Bobby, it's time for us to do my favorite segment that you have to work on, which also makes it my favorite segment because it's all you. But let's make people smarter, Bobby.
Time to get smarter. Morning Juice presents Today in History. Here's your professor, Bobby Carpenter.
Class has begun for me, Bobby. Let's see what we got today.
All right, it is Friday, May 23rd, the 143rd day of the year, 222 days remaining in this 2025. This date, 1785, Ben Franklin announces the invention of the bifocal. Thidoff, are you wearing some bifocals now?
I am not wearing bifocals. I've done it before, but I'm not wearing them right now.
You mean you've done it before? You don't typically wear the same glasses all the time, or?
I tried them out. I just didn't like them. I wasn't a fan of them. That's all. I mean, I gave them a trial run and didn't really care.
Have you always wore glasses?
No, I didn't start wearing glasses till I was in my 20s.
Oh, Okay, so you just didn't know you needed glasses, is what you're
I didn't
telling me.
until, like a lot of people, I didn't know how bad I needed glasses until the first time I put glasses on. And then I realized how
You didn't do
damn
you
blind.
didn't do eye tests when you were growing up?
I did, but I took some occasionally. I didn't do it annually, even like that. I did it, probably.
You do them in school.
I don't
Back
remember.
then, I think they probably did them even more frequently.
I was probably fine, and I remember being fine. Like
Didn't you join the military?
I did, and I was 19.
And they didn't define that.
They
Schleik's had some like big, thick coat classes. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he's super blind until he got LASIK, but they didn't discover that.
There was nothing they discovered in the Army, and then like when I got to like my mid-20s,
I'm very concerned about the United States government, both the educational system
That they
and
let
the
me
U.S.
in?
military, that they didn't discover that in either way.
Bobby, it's just, listen, I thank my lucky stars I didn't kill anybody with my car, because once I put glass on, I thought, oh, that's what that is. That's what that is. I had no idea.
So I just thought those were extra large speed bumps that were moving around on you.
Yes.
Absolutely. This state's 1788. South Carolina becomes the 8th state in the Union to ratify.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Sorry to ratify. I interrupted.
To ratify the U.S. Constitution.
Okay.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say I didn't know they were the 8th state, but I know they're not now. Sorry, Bobby. Go ahead.
Well, they were the 8th state
To ratify it. But they weren't
it.
named the 8th state, were they?
Well, that would have made them the 8th state.
I didn't know that. I thought there was a state. Okay. We're off to a
There
great
was a
start,
state
Bobby.
before them. Yeah, there were 7 other states that. What was the first state to ratify it?
I would imagine to be Virginia,
It was Delaware.
Delaware.
Yes. Come on, Thedoff. You got to get yourself together. They actually issued the U.S. coins in order of statehood with the state quarters.
Really?
I don't know whenever that was, 20 years ago when they
Yeah.
started doing that.
Huh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That's why Ohio was the 17th, I want to say, or something like that.
All right.
Yeah, 16th, 17th, somewhere in there. But yeah, that's how they issued the quarters coming out. And so Delaware, I believe, was the first quarter, and that's said on there the first state. This state, 1934, Bonnie and Clyde are killed in Benville Parish, Louisiana. The famed bank robbers were surprised and pinned down by law enforcement and in a gunfight, and neither of them walked out. They both left horizontally, Thedoff. 1948, DiMaggio hits 3 consecutive home runs in a game. And then 1964, I Get Around by the Beach Boys hits number 1.
Round, round, get around, I get around, yeah, get around, round, round, I get around, I get around, round, round, I get around.
A little banger there for you, Thedoff.
Yes, it is.
You know what's amazing is I didn't realize when I was younger that the Beach Boys were heavily into drugs. My parents told me that, and then I watched some documentaries on them. They had such happy music.
They did. A lot of people back then did. Mamas and the Papas and things like that. Like they were all drugged up.
You can only make good vibrations on drugs.
Well, that's, yeah, I believe that, Nate. And then 1 year later, Help Me Rhonda by the Beach Boys hits number 1. There we go. One falling year. It's a nice day for some music. For that little Beach Boys. Now we'll take you to the Beatles. Paperback Writer by the Beatles, released on this date in 1966.
Based on an awful life, man named there, and I need a job, so I want to be a paperback writer.
All right, Shark. Where does that? Shark, not here. Off. Where does that come in on your Beatles catalog?
Beatles catalog, I would probably put it in the top 25 or so.
Top
I'm guessing.
25, all right.
Yeah,
That's a good placing for it.
I think it's probably right for it.
Okay.
Did you like the Beatles' new stuff when it came out? Have you
What do
listened
you
to
mean
much?
the new stuff?
Well, they had the stuff in like the. God, you were so young though. Like the mid '90s when they
What,
did the
after
Beatles
they got
documentary.
back together?
No, when they took some of the sound, some of John Lennon's vocals, and George Harrison and McCartney and Ringo played around. They had a way like the technologically doing this.
They
Real
could
love
probably they could probably just recreate John Lennon now
in the AI. Yeah, they could. But they took like these recordings that John had made before he died.
Yeah.
And it was Free as a Bird and Real Love were those two. And they had another one come out just in the last couple of years they released. That's the final one they can do with Lennon's vocals in it. And obviously with George Harrison now, who's passed away. But yeah, they had like, so it's 3 songs that have been released since the mid 90s, which were interesting. It was pretty cool the way they did it.
I don't feel like I've heard those.
Yeah.
Maybe I did, but I don't know if they weren't memorable enough for me to remember
Yeah.
them. Like we had the Beatles 1 album and everything like that.
Yeah.
I used to love listening to that back in the day. And then this date in 1979, Sister Sledge going platinum with We Are Family.
We are family.
Billy Stargell song.
There we go. Some birthdays today. Longtime member of the Detroit Press was on the Sports Reporters before that was canceled. Mitch Albom turning 69 years young.
There was a job on the board at Sport Magazine. If it had been a job at Sewing Magazine, I might have been a sewing writer.
Turns out he was really good at it. 13 times Associated Press Sports Writer of the Year. People can retire on an accolade like that.
At the pinnacle of a sports writing career, I happened to be flipping the television and happened to see my old college professor, Maury Schwartz, who I hadn't seen in 16 years, and he's on TV, and he's talking about what it's like to die. I said, "Hello, Professor Schwartz. My name is Mitch Albom. I was a student of yours in the 70s. I don't know if you remember me." And the first thing he said after 16 years was, "How come you didn't call me coach?"
How come you didn't call me coach?
Yeah, his another book he had, The 5 People You Meet in Heaven.
Mitch Albom wrote that?
Yeah, I believe
Really?
Mitch Albom wrote that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. That was fantastic.
I might need you to source that because I know that book. I don't
You know
think
it?
I've read it.
Oh, I didn't read it, Bobby. I listened to it. But yes.
An audiobook?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Years ago.
Okay.
Was in fact written by Mitch Albom.
There we go. Good job.
It's really well done. It's as somebody who
Doesn't read much. It's one of your favorite books.
Doesn't right on that level ever have. I have such an appreciation for people who can do that.
Well, you're an esteemed Big J journalist, classically trained journalist.
I am a journalist. Yes, I've covered games. Yes, I've written a couple of longer pieces.
That was what you're. I mean, originally you were working at Dispatch,
I worked
right?
at the Dispatch. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you were a writer.
I had the longest piece
Maybe
I
not
did.
a paperback writer, but
was on Reggie Oliver, who was the quarterback of the Marshall team on the team, but didn't travel when the plane crash happened. And
it's a good day to not make the travel squad.
But he was the quarterback then the next year, obviously when they came back. But he was at the time like a head coach or assistant coach at a Columbus City High School. I can't remember when it was. Might have been Walnut Ridge. But I got to sit down with him for a while and talk to him. That was like the best thing or the most significant thing I did as a writer.
Okay. Did you get any awards for that? A Pulitzer or anything?
I didn't get any. I was on the front page of the sports section the next day
Maybe
for
a Caldecott for your illustrations?
I got nothing. I was going to do the audio book on it, but nobody was interested in a one-day article in audio.
That's unfortunate. Turning 69 today, Cleveland native and Price is Right star Drew Carey.
Drew Carey is heartbroken over the shocking murder of his ex-fiancée, Amy Harwick.
Do you miss Amy?
Every single day. There's not a day goes by. I feel like she's living inside me, honestly.
Harwick was found on the ground below the third-floor balcony of her Hollywood Hills home. She died from blunt force injuries.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody!
On Valentine's Day 2018, Carey introduced Harwick as his lady love.
I'd like to introduce you to my brand new lovely fiancée, Amy.
I feel like a widower, in a lot of ways, because I wanted to marry her, and then we had this horrible breakup, and then before I could talk to her again, somebody killed her.
I would just like to state for the record that was Shark that picked that depressing clip.
Of all the things, the guy's a stand-up comedian. Dude, whose line is this anyway? The Drew Carey show. He's on The Price is Right. I didn't even know his fiancee was murdered, and that's the crap that Shark's going to leave us with.
Do you think that Shark was like in a dour, bad mood when he did this?
I think he did that just to mess with me. How long do you think Drew Carey's been on The Price is Right? When do you think he joined?
I think he joined 17 years ago.
Pretty close.
What is it?
It's 2007.
Dan Patrick was up for that job, too.
I had heard that they offered it to Herbstreit, and he turned it down.
Really?
Yeah.
That's an easy job.
You film everything in 4 months. And so for 4 months, you work about 12 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week. And then you get the rest of the year off. And you get paid pretty well to do it.
Yeah, I think it's like upwards like close to $20 million or something.
Oh, I think it's more than that at this point now. Yeah. I think that's what was offered to Kirk back then, which I couldn't believe he turned it down. Singer Jewel turning 51.
So you will see you're meant for me, and I was meant for you.
I loved Jewel growing up, and one of the great things I ever heard was a guy in my class, quarterback from Clemson, Charlie Whitehurst. Many people refer to him as Clipboard Jesus in the NFL for his long hair and like little beard that he had, and never holding the clipboard for like 11 years.
Best job in the world.
It's unbelievable. And he dated Jewel for a couple of years.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was awesome to see that. Like, it was pretty sweet.
I don't know which celebrity roast it was, but she was on the dais. I'm sorry, and Nikki Glazer was talking about Jewel and said, Jewel, I'm not going to make fun of your mouth or whatever. She said, I'm not going to badmouth you. God already did that. And then she said, your teeth are like the Spice Girls. They're all different color and they're doing their own thing.
That is terrible. She's from Alaska, and
right.
I don't know if she's gotten her teeth fixed yet or not. The amazing thing now is you can get Invisalign and do all this stuff.
Whatever.
51. Scott Raynor turning 47 today, the original drummer from Blink-182 before being replaced by Travis Barker. Aaron Donald turning 34, the 8-time first-team All-Pro, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Some passings today. Roger Moore, James Bond, if you will, passing away on this date, 2017. Sam Snead, the 6-time major champ, passing away on this date, 2002.
When reflecting on the pantheon of golf legends, names like Nicklaus, Jones, Hagen, Hogan, and Woods often take center stage. However, Sam Snead seems to have slipped from the collective memory when assessing the greatest in the sport's history. Snead may not boast as many major wins as some of golf's iconic figures like Nicklaus, Woods, Hogan, and Hagen, but his name stands proudly at the summit of a different, yet equally impressive list. Snead holds the distinction of the most all-time PGA Tour victories, amassing a staggering 82 wins. To grasp the magnitude of this achievement, consider that Snead notched 9 more career wins than Nicklaus, 18 more than Hogan, 58 more than Gary Player, and an impressive 73 more victories than the legendary Bobby Jones.
Woods broke that record, didn't he?
I believe he did.
I think Todd Woods has the all-time PGA Tour winner now.
They might be tied, one or the other, yeah.
Steve never won the U.S. Open, 4-time runner-up.
Amazing.
There's only one he didn't complete for the career slam. John D. Rockefeller passing away in 1937, the Standard Oil tycoon. And then John Nash passing away in 2015, the brilliant man that they made a movie of called The Beautiful Mind.
What's wrong with him?
John has schizophrenia. People with this disorder are often paranoid.
But his work, he deals with conspiracies, so...
Yes, I know. In John's world, these behaviors are accepted, encouraged. When his hallucinations seem to have begun.
What are you talking about? What hallucinations?
One, so far that I'm aware of. An imaginary roommate named Charles Herman.
Charles isn't imaginary. He and John have been best friends since Princeton.
Have you ever met Charles?
Was that the Russell Crowe movie?
Yeah, Russell Crowe did a great job. It was like after Gladiator, and it was really good. And my favorite part of that is when he's upstairs in the attic and he's charting the pigeon movement with like a dry erase marker on the glass. Oh, yeah. It's amazing. Just watching the pigeons down there and like developing these algorithms out of it. Oh, it's unreal.
Don't spoil it for me. I might watch it.
You should go back and watch it. It's pretty good. I mean,
how high on the list would that be of the movies I need to watch?
Not crazy high, but it's one that's worth a watch.
Right.
It's a biopic about him. Some holidays observances today. It is Carb Day, which is the Friday before the Indy 500. Lucky Penny Day. Do you know they're eliminating the pennies?
Are they really?
It costs 3 times more than a penny to make a penny. So 3 cents, I guess.
Yeah.
And they've ordered, the U.S. Treasury and Mints have ordered their last set of copper plates for them. And, when that runs out, they will be done.
Did you know they're not making yardsticks any longer?
Why is that?
Because
it's a joke?
They're 3 feet. They're not going to be any longer. They're going to stay 3 feet.
Oh, that's good.
Thanks.
Get a meter stick that's 39 inches if you want. Well done on that, Tidoff. National Road Trip Day, National Taffy Day as well, and World Turtle Day. And those are your historical events, your birthdays, your passings, your holidays, observances for this date, May 23rd, the 143rd day of the year, and 222 days remaining in this 2025.
Well done, Bobby. Appreciate that. Appreciate the education. Also, Sam Snead and Tiger Woods are tied for most PGA Tour wins with 82. So that is one of the rare
final
records.
Masters get him the tie on that?
Got him the tie on a PGA Tour win,
Wow.
yeah. So he's still tied with him. That's one of the rare records that Tiger doesn't own, you know?
Well, that and the all-time majors.
That one, too. Yes, that one, too. You know, Jack once had 20 majors, and they cut it back to 18.
Would they take away the U.S. Amateur and stuff?
Yeah, because they used to count the U.S. amateurs as...
Well, that used to be the Grand Slam. The amateur was considered part of that.
All right, coming up next. Hey, by the way, breaking news, college football is changing again. We'll talk about that next. Morning Juice.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because when people don't have to worry about where their next meal is coming from, they can truly thrive, like Marta.
And now we'll hear from our class valedictorian, who with our hard work never ceases to amaze us. Please welcome Marta Moreno.
And Alex.
Hey, Alex, how did the interview go?
I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
I knew it. Let's meet up later to celebrate.
And Diego.
Mom! I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow. feedingamerica.org/actnow. A public service announcement brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Around the world, Children International and friends like you are giving children in poverty a chance to grow and thrive, to be healthy, to succeed in school, and achieve great things. How do we do it? In the best way possible, by helping ensure access to healthcare, nutrition, and educational opportunities. And most importantly, by empowering youths and their families to get out of poverty and into employment through life skills, computer, and job training. The very tools they need to break the cycle of poverty and build futures full of promise. Because every child deserves a chance to realize their full and best potential. Learn more about how Children International is empowering children and families by going to children.org today. That's children.org.
It's been a real journey since 2014 when I first had my injury. I realized that my home was just not working for me and that it was time to ask for help. Homes for Our Troops is really giving me my life back. The shower allows me to go in and turn around with my chair, pull down storage racks, automated door systems, hours of my morning given back to me. Adaptive sports are a huge part of my life, a huge part of my healing journey as well. Homes for Our Troops helped with making sure that I had a home gym so that I can continue to train. This past year, I was able to host Thanksgiving in my home. And it was the first time I was able to have my whole family in one place and I was able to contribute to the meal. There are a lot more veterans in need, and Homes for Our Troops is going to be there to help them too.
Homes for Our Troops builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post 9/11 veterans and enables them to rebuild their lives. Join our mission at hfotusa.org.
Bobby is the all-American male. Tito pulled a hammy getting his mail. This is Morning Juice.
It is Morning Juice. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate that. Thanks to all of you participating in the chat already. Love that on the YouTube channel. That's always great to see. Bobby, college football yesterday was announced. They had a vote with the top 10 FBS commissioners, Notre Dame AD Pete Bevacqua, and they had a unanimous agreement on a call to change the way they're going to do the buys in the CFP. So it's going to be Stracy. We talked about this maybe earlier this week, but we talked about what it would have looked like last year. But where it's to be top 4 of the seeding, regardless of your conference champion or not, you're going to get the buys. The top 5 conference champions are, again, guaranteed spots, but not necessarily spots into straight into the quarterfinals. They're still giving out $4 million to conference champions apiece, and $4 million if you get to the quarterfinal, I guess, what they're doing on that one as well. But we already did through all the things that would have looked different last year and whatnot. We already talked to Bodie this morning, who came in very giddy in his Notre Dame gear about the fact that now Notre Dame could, in fact, get a bye before they couldn't.
Yeah.
this seems like a smart move. And I don't know if I should be like angry that it took college football this long to do this, or impressed that they realized there needed to be a change after last year and were able to jump on it right away.
Well, here's the thing. I think I was initially for this, and I think people thought this would be able to push Notre Dame into a conference.
Yeah.
And maybe if you stayed with it, I think that there would have been the ability to do that. The problem was last year is after how, and I don't know if this is going to be something we see into the future or not, but the reality is that the Big 12 and the ACC were significantly behind the Big 10 and the SEC, and people were looking around like, well, why are we giving the 12th ranked team or whatever the heck?
Yeah, what if
Boise State or 11th, why are they getting a bye? You know, I understand they're a conference champ, but we passed over a lot of other teams.
Yeah.
You know, why is it? Who else won?
Well, Arizona State won their conference.
Arizona State, and then Clemson won, but they didn't get in because they didn't get the bye because they were one of the top four. But you start looking where Arizona State was, you start looking where Clemson was, and then you start looking where Boise was. You're like, man, are these the teams that we really want to reward with a bye? Yeah, you won your conference, and that's important, and so you should get a seat at the table. But like winning your conference in the NCAA tournament for basketball, that doesn't guarantee you a 1 seed or a 2 seed. It just means you're guaranteed a shot to continue playing. So I think that this makes sense. Everybody's clamored for it, and then they reseeded everything. Like, wow, look, you know, Oregon wouldn't have had to play Ohio State, and Ohio State still wouldn't have got a bye, but they would have been, I think, a 4 seed as opposed to an 8. And
they would have been a 6 seed. 6 seed, yeah.
6 seed as opposed to an 8. And so, you know, I looked through it all, like, who they would have played.
Arizona State would have been in December. Would have been.
I think they would have played maybe Georgia next or something.
I think it was Georgia or Texas next. Might have been Texas next.
Yeah, they would have been on Georgia's side of the bracket and whatever. And like that's kind of how it would have worked out. And all right, well, you ended up having to beat, you know, maybe tougher teams anyway, and you got it done. Would have been an easier path possibly. I mean, the team that probably would have made out the best in this is Oregon because they wouldn't have had to play Ohio State second.
Right.
And so I think it does answer a lot of questions. I think it's good for the sport. We'll see. I mean, there's always unintended consequences. I don't think anybody would have foresaw what happened last year. And so now you go to this straight line seating, and we'll see if this impacts it in a way that there's some negative externalities that we were not seeing.
It feels to me, Bobby, like, yes, look, and the people want to complain, and nothing was, but, you know, if Oregon fans want to say, oh, see, that's how we got screwed, it'd be different. Look, Oregon still would have to beat Ohio State at some point to win the national championship.
Yeah. I mean, they wouldn't have played them, I think, till the final.
Might not have been till the final, but still, you know what? The way Ohio State was playing at that point, they would have beaten anybody. They would have beaten anybody at that point. You would have put in front of them. So I get what they're saying. Yes, last year, Oregon got a much tougher draw. Yes, Arizona State and Boise State were given gifts. But I think what we can look for now, Bobby, this will be 1 year of this. Because the top 4 teams will be all Big Ten and SEC. The top 4 seeds, I believe, will be all Big Ten and SEC. I don't think you're willing to make. I do. I'm very.
I don't know. If Clemson's really good, I think you could get Clemson in there, and I think you could get Notre Dame in there.
God, I don't know if they're gonna, just because the top 2 teams in the SEC and top 2 teams in the Big Ten are going to play damn tough schedules.
Yeah.
And so I think that will wait, and unless the second place team is a 3-loss team.
You know who Clemson opens up with?
Clemson opens up with Notre Dame. No, Notre Dame plays Miami, right? Who's Clemson open up with?
LSU.
LSU, that's right. Yeah.
So they have, let's say LSU is the second best team in the SEC this year, and Clemson beats them and wins the ACC. You don't think they're going to get a top 4 seed?
If they go undefeated, they'll be a top 4 seed. Yes,
even if they have a 1 loss, but they have a victory over LSU on their record.
Kind of depends on if there's a 1 or 2 loss team in the SEC, I guess, and who they played against.
Well, I don't think there's going to be any undefeated teams.
You don't think so this year?
No.
I think the days of undefeated teams are gone.
You look at how these schedules are and what they're being asked to do, and so that's my point. Is if you play a tough non-conference team, that's why people are saying, no one's going to schedule these big conference games. It's like, well, non-conference games, but I'm like, if you're a team, especially in the ACC or Big 12, you want to play out, you get a victory over an SEC team or a Big 10 that's going to be a playoff team.
Right.
That's something you can put in your hat where you start looking at ranking teams. I mean, head-to-head matters.
Sure.
Granted, it'll be early in the season, so those teams change a little bit, but I've always been a proponent of, what you do in this world matters for anything. And so we can talk about the hypothetical of who's better or not, but when you watch something actually happen, that has got to be taken in as evidence.
And the schedule thing, which I railed on Indiana for last year, but their argument and their pushback would be, and I would get it, that we played the teams that were on our schedule. But now they also have some control over their schedule. I know it's 5 years out.
I get that. They're playing 5, 7, 10
Yes.
years out. And if you're Indiana's AD scheduling, then you're trying to schedule yourself to bowl.
Not thinking CFP at that point.
Yeah, and you played Ohio State and you played Michigan. Michigan wasn't great this year.
Yeah.
If Michigan was ranked 6th and Ohio State was ranked whatever they were, you would have 2 top 10 opportunities. Let's say you split them. All right. You avoided a lot of the other tough teams in the conference. Okay. But you still played a Big Ten conference schedule. And like I said, it wasn't like their schedule was the worst that you could find. But, yeah, they were scheduling to try to be bowl eligible, not to be in the top 25 or be in the top 4, which when they schedule it, which would have been the thought.
So I believe, Bobby, it'll be 16 after this year. It'll be at least 14, but I think it'll be 16.
You're probably right. I mean, I could see it going 14, but 16 is probably where we're going to land on.
And which means everyone plays the first round. Everyone hosts maybe the first round, maybe the second round too. There could be host schools in those versus bowls.
I think there's going to be a big push for the second round on campus. Because if you're going to do that, it's just a lot of travel for people to ask, and it's very expensive, and you're going to have a hard time filling those stadiums. I mean, you looked even in the playoff this year.
Yeah.
There were a lot of stadiums that were not full in that second round when you're asking teams to travel.
Yeah, to travel that way because they're thinking, I'm going to the next one. I'm going to the semifinal of the championship. Yeah.
Is it Texas that?
Texas played, what do you mean, like they played at home when Ohio State played them. There was a home game essentially for them in Dallas, right?
Yes, but before that, did they play, or was it Georgia that played in Atlanta 3 times, or?
That wouldn't surprise me if it was.
I think it was maybe Georgia played in Atlanta 3 times this year. But you look like people having to go back to the same spots and stuff, and you're playing a conference championship game, then you're playing your, national, then you're playing your playoff games. Like you're talking for people to maybe travel 5 times over 6-7 weeks. I mean, I did that last year. I paid for it all. It's expensive, and I didn't even go to one of them. I just went to the home game here, missed the Rose Bowl, and then went to wherever the final 2 games were, Dallas and then
Atlanta.
And that's the thing. Well, this is what it was. If Texas would have, I think, did they play? Where did I can't remember where Texas. Whoever it would have been, the SEC, like they would have played SEC championship in Georgia, played Peach Bowl in Georgia, and then the national championship game was in Georgia.
Wow,
it's in Atlanta. And so all of those were in Atlanta.
Sure.
And so that's a hike for people to continue to go there over and over again, the same place.
Yeah. I don't know if I asked this before or not, Bobby, but in the past years, like it seems like Ohio State's marquee game, like the Notre Dame game, second or third game of the year, whatever it's going to be. They usually had a game under their belt before they played their big game. I think when you guys played Texas, right, it wasn't your season opener. It was like it was second game. Ohio State's got Texas this year as their first game. Do you have an opinion on whether that's better, worse to play that one that early, or just based on this roster?
Well, I mean, with this roster and part of it, who's you're playing. I mean, Texas lost a lot too, so they're battling the same things. It's not like they've got this big body of work with a bunch of players playing together. I like it because it gives you flexibility, which I thought there was a chance that you'd be able to move that game to Sunday. Apparently, Texas doesn't want to do that. And I do like it because then it gives you a couple weeks before you have to then ultimately go into the Big Ten schedule as well. And so there's pros and cons. Probably the second week is that sweet spot.
Right.
I don't know if I want to play it like on your third game right before you're heading into the Big Ten conference, but scheduling. But I think that second is maybe the sweet spot. But for this year with the unknowns for both, I think it fits pretty well.
How about opening the season with a conference game? They did it with Minnesota, right, a few years back.
I don't hate that. I don't want it to be like, well, I mean, if you're going to make it at night and make it a big game, I don't dislike it.
I wonder about that with the experience Ohio State had, inexperience, I should say, probably, I guess, at the quarterback position this year. And I wonder if, and obviously Texas, they are also inexperienced at quarterback, but they have a little more experience than Ohio State does, if that is a negative on them or not. But, people who are clamoring for 16, and I'm one of them that is, the 16-team playoff, you got to understand it's never going to go back for, like, no one ever takes away postseason teams. Like, they never say,
that's why they're never going to get rid of the the conference championship games, because once you get used to that revenue, you're never going to go away from it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like the government. Nobody ever cuts. I mean, it's the first time ever. Like, you never cut departments. You never shrink things down. It's always just growth, growth, growth. And so there's just more and more and more of things, because once you start those jobs, like, nobody's going to be able to say, oh yeah, we'll give back, the $50 million we get as a conference from the conference championship game. They're not going to do it. They'll say, hey, the team that plays in it, well, that's tough. Maybe we'll try to have more games on that day to make more money, and then it's less of a detriment to the two teams because everybody's playing on that day.
Yeah, I wonder if it'll turn into a situation. They talked about having like their third and fourth place teams play and fifth and sixth place teams play as well, or maybe instead of the conference championship, just to try to improve their standing or their way to get into the field and what their seeding could be. I agree that they're not going to get rid of the conference championship games, but they don't seem nearly as important now as they did 5 years ago. It's not nearly as significant now.
Because that was if you lost that, decent shot you weren't getting in the 14 playoff.
Right.
If you get to your conference championship game now, that could be the difference between having a home game or not.
Right.
Or where you're seated. So there is some of that, but you're probably, at least if you're in the Big Ten and SEC, that's not going to knock you out.
Yeah, that's what I think too. So it's this season will be interesting. And like I say, Bobby, are you impressed with college football's malleability?
I don't think it is very malleable. This is the best that's ever been. Like, of their ability to see something and correct it the following year. Usually it takes 5 years.
Right.
So I don't know if I'd call it overly malleable. This was kind of a one-off. Show me some more evidence of this, and then I'll get on board.
It seems like with the other sports, all these, and especially college football too, yes, college sports in general, there is that thing where it usually seems like,
the
change.
Term glacial pace.
It did take over 20 years to get a playoff.
I'm talking about now. Starting now, though, can't we pat them on the back for realizing, hey, 2024 was not ideal as far as the playoff
to realize
goes.
You're a lobster in a pot and you're getting boiled? I mean,
Bobby, I'm trying to give him praise. I'm trying to say that college
football. I'm not going to give faint praise. Like, that's not what
it's not faint praise. I'm genuinely impressed with the fact that they made the change that quickly.
Then you're impressed by too little, Thidoff. Raise your standards.
I know. I'm not going to, but yes, I wish they would have done it years ago. I wish all kinds of things could have been changed years ago in college sports, but I am.
You're like the guy that throws the graduation party for your kids, like going to middle school and like graduating kindergarten.
That thing.
I mean, at some point there was just expectations that you were going to graduate and continue through the public education system until you finished up high school.
No, but I feel like the guy who never gave his kids graduation parties for high school and then decided to after like the fourth or fifth kid, you know what, I should do this. I should get praise for doing it right eventually.
I guess. I mean, but I'm not going to just sit here and tell everybody it's the greatest when it's not. Like, they did what they should have done. They saw a problem and they fixed it. It wasn't like they revolutionized. Now, if they would have said, hey, we're going to go to a 16-team playoff and we're going to do 2 rounds of home games and this is the full structure, and they laid all that out this year and we all agree on that, then I would pat them on the back and say good job. But they didn't give us that. They gave us like a small incremental change before they're going to try to make bigger and more sweeping changes next year when it will be easier to do.
It'll be easier to do because of the TV stuff, right? Or wasn't that part of the holdup with the?
It is, but they could. It's because everybody would have to agree to it and how it looks. So you'd have to develop a larger consensus. So then I would pat them on the back and say good job. Until that happens, no dice.
Coming up next, we've got some quick hitters. There's also a new rule regarding NFL television situations. We'll talk about that next. Morning Juice.
Within 15 seconds of logging onto social media, the algorithm has your daughter in its crosshairs. It sends her a steady flow of images telling her she isn't thin enough, pretty enough. They invade her brain, causing body dysmorphia, anxiety, depression, leading to the worst rates of eating disorders, self-harm, and suicide we have ever known. All while she's sitting right next to you on her phone. Congress knows, but it refuses to act. Don't let her suffer the secret pain alone. Use your voice. Demand a plan. Join us at the Center for Countering Digital Hate. ProtectingKidsOnline.org. Because it's up to you to protect your children from social. Join us. For her. For your daughter.
And we're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for the... And there they go, almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff. Like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Once there was a man who couldn't stand.
A mom who couldn't wait.
A scientific community that said it couldn't be done.
And then you.
And then I.
And then we brought neuromuscular disease into screaming color with the Muscular Dystrophy Association.
For 75 years, our voices have thundered through the halls of Congress.
We've willed the impossible into existence.
We've pushed the science,
raised the funds,
shifted the narrative,
and transformed the reality of life with neuromuscular diseases.
For 75 years, we've built communities together.
Established the field of neuromuscular medicine,
and made it thrive.
Call that a legacy.
Call it impact.
Call it momentum.
Just call it ours.
Because it's the generations of community heroes that give MDA the strength we have today.
And until neuromuscular disease is a thing of the past, you couldn't stop us if you tried.
Join us and celebrate 75 years of breakthroughs at MDA75.org.
Attack and dominate, YouTubers. You're locked into Morning Juice.
Indeed you are. Morning Juice. Tito, Bobby Carpenter, Nate with you today as Shark is... I don't know, what the hell Shark doing today, Bobby? Do we know? Does he have something...
It's a quote, trying not to die.
Okay, that's
a good
he
wanted
thing.
to make it to retirement, not meet his untimely demise. Actually, he's using all his PTO before retirement.
Before July 1st.
Yeah, you got to use some of that.
Gotcha.
Use it up, because it's after that off, like, every day's a Saturday, and then he'll be retired permanently.
I give it 2 weeks before he comes back in here.
I don't think so.
After the Italy trip.
His wife is a number of years older than him, and
Right.
like she's waiting for him to retire. Or else she
He'd
would
wait
have
for more
retired.
than that. Okay, let's do some quick hitters.
Morning Juice presents Quick Hitters.
Sponsored by Dr. Mark Levy. If you're snoring and not sleeping, call Dr. Mark Levy today at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP.
No pressure, Nate. Screw this up, though. We got a box outside for you to put your stuff in.
All right, the upcoming season of HBO's Hard Knocks is set to feature the Buffalo Bills. This was thanks to eliminating a rule that allowed teams to opt out if they had made the playoffs 2 years in a row. Bobby is the only person in here that's actually been on Hard Knocks. How much are Josh Allen and Joey Bosa going to love or hate the cameras the next few months? And what do you think of eliminating the playoff exemption?
Yeah, when they eliminating the playoff exemption, you're getting better teams on there.
Yep.
And so the incentive was, like, if you don't want to be on here, win. And then you don't have to do it. The problem is the teams that are winning are the teams that everybody wants to see. And a lot of the teams that go on, I mean, you'd be cycling through basically the bottom 10 teams in the league that have kind of remained there. Now, granted, teams oscillate up and down, and they've gotten better or worse, but I think Josh Allen, this will be a great opportunity for him. It'll be a great opportunity for the city of Buffalo. It is a TV show. They do get to build the scripts and build their narratives how they want. You know, was it 2 years ago they made it all about Aaron Rodgers with the Jets? Who was it last year?
Last year, it's a great question, Bobby. Was last year the Giants?
Yeah, no.
No, Giants were the
Giants was the offseason.
Who was it?
Was it the Steelers?
I don't think
No,
it was the Steelers last
never
year.
had it.
Who was last year?
Gosh.
I'll look it up.
I can't believe I can't remember this right now, but
shows how memorable of a season it was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it was very memorable to be able to lock in on that. But some of these teams have done in the past, like, it's been better, it's worse. There's just a lot of exposure. How much the team wants to help out with it is a big part of it. I mean, I remember watching the Raiders one when they had Antonio Brown down there, and it was just wild and crazy. So if the team wants to, help build the storylines, they can do that. and make it good. Josh Allen's a big personality. I don't know if Joey Bosa is bringing much to the table, but we'll see how much Buffalo really wants to play ball with this.
Bears last season.
So wait, it was the Bears last season.
Yep, and they did the AFC North in
with
season.
Eberflus, and they fired him. That's right, he got fired right after the season.
Yeah,
I was thinking that was 2 years ago. He was terrible.
So it's the rules now. The only way you are not eligible to be selected if you have a first-year head coach, if you've appeared on the training camp version in the past 8 seasons, and teams that are part of the in-season division. This year, it's the NFC East this year. So those NFC
Giants
teams
are back on.
They're going to be back on in some way, shape, or form. See if they can botch anything on this one. But the Hard Knocks thing is always so much fun. I love watching it. I don't know how much of it is. I mean, a lot of it's real, but it's edited down still, and they're still telling stories.
They take 100 hours of film every week for 48 minutes or whatever it is.
The Antonio Brown stuff was interesting when he was with the Raiders and all going on with the frostbit feet or whatever it was, and all the stuff that went on with Antonio Brown.
So great.
I'm looking forward to this though, and seeing what happens with this year with the Bills.
All right, Enhancement Games, a new company founded by Aaron D'Souza, is set to host their first Olympic-style games next May in Las Vegas. The company has come under heavy criticism for allowing, if not outright encouraging, the use of performance-enhancing drugs, quoting, wanting to develop superhumans. There's going to be a $500,000 prize pool with events including swimming, track and field, and weightlifting. The U.S. Anti-Doping Agency has called this venture, quote, a dangerous clown show that puts profits over people. Cheeto, what are we doing?
You know what? I can't wait to see the way their times and production compare to the world records we recognize now.
They've already given out $1 million check for someone breaking a record in the 40 meter freestyle.
Okay, so we'll see what happens there. There was the way SNL can predict these things. I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you saw this, Bobby, or not. There was one Phil Hartman skit a while back when it was kind of like the doping Olympics kind of thing, where and Phil Hartman's sitting there getting ready to try to.
Oh, I remember this.
And his arms fall off. He starts bleeding. He's trying to lift it up, and his arms go off. But yeah, I am intrigued. Will I spend? I don't know what the hell to view. I'm not going to spend time watching it.
Why?
I want to see the results. I just don't. I won't. It's because it's not real. I should say it's not real.
Until Usain Bolt. Do you know who the fastest? I believe this was true. Do you know the fastest 100-meter time ever was run by?
Well, it's the roided up Ben Johnson, right? Yeah.
So why wouldn't you want to see people test the bounds of human performance?
I want to see the results, Bobby. Just show me.
I want to watch it.
You're going to watch this?
I would love to watch this. Listen. If you have doctors and they're doing it all safely, like you can monitor things on this. I mean, the problem is like you look at WWE in the 80s.
Right.
Dudes were just taking steroids and like,
during the match in
gym closets. They had no
yes.
monitoring. I mean, I remember talking to James's dad about it, and they're like, if some is good, more is better. So like, there was never any like dosing or what of that. If you have doctors that are monitoring this, why not? I mean, give me Ivan Drago. Don't you want to see that? I want to see more superhumans out there.
Okay.
It's going to be us versus the machines eventually, Thidoff. So we're going to need every advantage we can get. So let's see what the fastest human can run. Let's see how fast they can swim, how high you can jump. Yeah, you may rupture an Achilles every now and then, blow an ACL, but let's just see what human bodies can handle, who the elite ones are. Give them some juice. That's how people this is like the backstory to every Marvel show, every Marvel character. Whether you get zapped by radiation, you're born with some sort of mutation.
Right. Super serum.
The super serum. This is the Captain America. The super serum is just actually vitamin S, steroids.
You bring up the Drago thing. Look, if they have boxing, I don't know if they have boxing this one. I'm not sure. If they have a boxing thing, yes, I'll watch that because I'm a boxing fan anyway. But I don't even watch regular Olympics sprinting and things like that.
What?
No,
you watch 100 meters, the fastest man and woman in the world?
Look for the highlights.
The highlight is 10 seconds long. How much shorter can it get?
What YouTube's for?
Just tell me afterwards, this guy set a record, I'll go back and watch it.
Jeff Thidoff, I watched the highlights of track and field.
Bobby, I'll be honest, that came out kind of stupidly. I got that. But no, I don't watch the Olympics except, if they say I watch a little hockey, I watch basketball, but if they tell me somebody broke a record in something, then I'll watch it. Tell me after it happens if they broke the record.
You don't want to see it live? What about gotta see it live?
That's
overrated.
The Olympics I don't need to see live, Bobby.
Seeing it live is overrated.
Listen, it was a much bigger deal before everything was out there on YouTube or on the internet somewhere. You could watch it afterwards and cut through all the BS and the stuff like that. There are certain things I absolutely have to see live, but 400 meters swimming.
I'm promising you.
Yeah.
That there will be records broken.
Oh, there should be.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, it's going to happen.
Now, is that going to, will that change the way people look at, say, baseball players that use? Will they think, see, this is what, like, even more so? Like,
because they'll realize that all the guys were using them back in the 90s.
Were.
Just about all of them. And I'll have this, Shark's not here to defend himself, so I'll beat him up.
Please do.
Like, that was the argument that my dad asked. My dad was like, why did you vote for that? Because that was in the 80s. They had a big push in the NFL to get steroids out.
Yeah.
He goes, I voted to get for testing because I didn't want to have to do steroids to be able to compete with other guys.
Right.
And I'm like, if everybody was clean in Major League Baseball, they would have made that vote and pushed because guys were losing money and losing all-star appearances and all kinds of that stuff.
Yeah.
So if there was enough guys that were clean, the majority of them would have said, listen. And then they're like, no, they just didn't want the owners to have control. At the expense of your own career? That seems like the dumbest decision in the world.
If you saw a teammate, either at the college or professional level, using.
I'm fairly certain I played with guys that were using.
Okay. I didn't want to make that assumption, but let's say you did then. Would you do anything about that, or would you feel the need to do anything about that? Because if you're clean, I'm not saying if you're clean, I'm saying you're clean out there playing, and you've got somebody out there who's not clean, who could pass you on a depth chart or could get a bigger contract, whatever. Even though you guys are teammates, and I know there's a certain brotherhood with the players, it's still got to piss you off.
Yeah, dude, if you're going to cheat and it's going to hurt me, then I'm going to probably say something.
Yeah.
If you're going to cheat and it's going to help me because you're on the team playing another position or something,
right?
That's fine.
Maybe it's a little different. All right, what do you got next for us?
All right, former Buckeye Garrett Wilson said this week, I'm hopeful I'm a Jet for life and that we get this thing rolling and that all of our best days are ahead of us. This is a significant change from last December when rumors of trade requests popped up and there was visible frustration between him and Aaron Rodgers. Now Garrett's reunited with his old teammate Justin Fields and is currently signed through 2016. Bobby, what do you think led to the shift in attitude?
Well, I think he likes probably being in New York and maybe the fact that Justin's there. I think that him and Aaron would have worked and they had some success. The problem was last year he missed so much time, recovering from the torn Achilles the year before. That organization was a dumpster fire. They've never really consistently won. I mean, Rex Ryan had some success for a couple years, had a couple playoff wins. I mean, mostly, if you want to go back, Herm Edwards had a little bit, but Herman, and he absorbed the team that Bill Parcells built, and that was under a different ownership group. And so that's the thing. Like, I'm the problem, it's me, Taylor. Like, let's figure out the fact that, maybe a little bit lies with how the organization is running. They can always change that. And so hopefully they are. They're taking a look at things, and Woody Johnson's saying, hey, maybe I'm not going to have my kids or whoever use
That's right. He's mad ratings to decide if I want to play or going to sign.
Yeah, I mean, there is some truth to that, but I don't know if I'd exclusively use that. But yeah, I think that all of those things, and Aaron organizationally, hopefully all that stuff in concert, maybe, liking Aaron Glenn as his head coach, he probably loves. I loved Aaron as a player. We were teammates in Dallas. So all that stuff I think hopefully works, but I think that might be, I guess, the reason for that going on.
Bobby, there are certain franchises across all sports that if you win significantly there, you're held in high regard forever. And
Please
the Jets,
regard me, fit off.
And the Jets are. They haven't won they've won one Super Bowl back.
Haven't won the Super Bowl.
They won
since three.
Since three, right? The Joe Namath wagging the fingers. He's walking off the field with his guarantee.
I mean, it's going to be a sad day when there's no one alive since the Jets that played in the Jets' last Super Bowl.
Oh yeah.
I mean, do you think that'll happen?
That there'll be
what
no
do you
Jet.
think will happen? There'll be no
Jets
alive who have ever played a Super Bowl. And that means they've all passed before they've made it to a new one.
Right. I don't know, but it's a good question. But when it
I
comes,
make good comments.
That's what you do. You make good comments, George. The Jets, I'm interested in watching more so than any team probably other than the Steelers this year, just because I am rooting so hard for Justin Fields.
Yeah, so am I.
And Garrett Wilson. Like, they're part and parcel as far as success goes. And if they can put together a playoff team in New York, or at least a playoff contender this year,
if they win
so
9
huge.
games, that'll be
amazing.
Justin Fields might get comeback player of the year.
And they might
MVP.
build a statue. That's how big it'll be if he does that. So, Garrett Wilson saying that, I'll take him at his word. It's a smart thing to say, though.
What's he going to say?
I know, I don't want to be here, right? Yeah.
I'd like to get out of here. I'm hoping that they actually trade me to a competent organization.
I'm going to ask for $1 billion so they won't they won't take that and they'll trade me off somewhere else. He'd go the Antonio Brown or Le'Veon Bell route and just talk his way out of New York. But I do believe he wants to be there, and I do believe he wants to succeed. And I just feel like Justin Fields has been yanked around so much with different coaches, different coordinators, different systems. He got screwed, I think, last year in Pittsburgh. They should have kept starting him longer before they put Russell Wilson in there. But I don't know. I guess that's a hill I'm going to die on, saying that Justin Fields.
He could have helped himself a little bit more, but nobody else has really helped him either.
No, that's true. That's true. And okay, do you still believe he can be?
Yeah, I think he can be good.
A top half starting quarterback on a regular basis in the NFL.
Top half, I don't know if he could be top 5.
No, I don't think top 5.
But I think you could get him into that fringe.
Top 15, 16.
Where he's good enough to win a Super Bowl with.
Yes.
I don't know if he's always going to be. I think he could be the reason some games, but I don't know if you're going to go in and week out saying, no matter what happens, Justin can figure it out for us.
Yes. That's not to call him the dreaded game manager, but I'm just saying that it's somebody, he's going to need help to win it. He's not somebody who's going to put you on his back and win a Super Bowl, but I think he certainly has the skill set, though, to be a successful quarterback in the NFL. So, all right, coming up next, Bobby hinted at something yesterday that actually was a thing, and now it's not. That's next. Morning Juice.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. I know firsthand what it's like to battle through joint pain. After years of the hard hits and the wear and tear on the field, I thought pain, it was just going to be something I had to live with. Let me tell you, that's no longer the case thanks to QC Kinetics. For over 8 years, QC Kinetics has been leading the charge nationwide in non-surgical joint pain relief, helping over 50,000 patients get back to doing what they love, pain-free. Whether it's your knees, back, hips, shoulders, you pick it. If joint pain's been slowing you down, you need to hear about what Dr. Aaron Walkoff and his team in Columbus are doing. They're using cutting-edge regenerative medicine, natural biologic treatments with powerful healing properties to repair and restore damaged joint tissue. No surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. Just real results. The kind of treatment I wish I had access to during my playing days, and now you do. Imagine this summer playing around at golf, chasing the kids, and just enjoying a walk without the pain. Go to qckinetics.com/Columbus or call 380-228-4544. They now have offices in Grove City and Canal Winchester.
We are the keepers of the wild, America's original and most invested conservationists. For more than 80 years, we've been committed to conserving wildlife and the natural landscapes that define our nation. From rugged alpine ridgelines to peaceful tall grass prairies, we've supported the conservation of more than 36 million acres of American wildlands. Our funding has led to cleaner water, fresher air, and improved wildlife habitat. From abundant fish and waterfowl populations to robust deer and elk herds, nothing is more important than maintaining wild spaces for adventurers to explore and wildlife to thrive. We are America's hunters and target shooters, stewards of the American outdoors.
America's hunters and target shooters, along with firearm, ammunition, and archery manufacturers, have invested more than $46 billion to help state fish and wildlife agencies manage and protect wildlife and wildlands across America. For more information, visit outdoorstewards.org.
I'm Shanola Hampton. Every day, millions of people face hunger. Today, I will share with you some of their experiences. I'm stuck between paying for medications or paying for food. John from Maine. After paying my bills, I can buy groceries. It's sad to say, food comes last. Alice from Oregon. I thought pantries were for less fortunate people, but anybody could be less fortunate in a day or even a second. Claire from Virginia. The Feeding America network of food banks helps provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. No one should have to worry where their next meal will come from. Together, we can end hunger. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
Proud to be your go-to sports addiction.
WBNS, WBNS FM, HD3 Columbus.
The Fan 3, Ohio sports destination. Bobby played for the Dallas Cowboys. Tito wears assless chaps.
I'm dead sexy.
You're locked into Morning Juice.
Morning Juice. Bobby, you dropped a nugget yesterday. And I don't say a nugget makes it sound like it was some kind of rumor or report. But it was, you mentioned that Ohio State, maybe the Ohio State-Texas game could be played on Sunday. And I said, there's no way in hell. But you said, why not? And I had no, as usual, I had no valid reason why not.
No.
I just threw
I
it out.
expected you to not have any knowledge of the
There was
situation.
I had no background knowledge. All I said was there's no way. Now, it does come out then yesterday. I saw something, I think it was on Buck, that's where I saw this, that Ohio State did approach Texas.
They were working on it.
To try to get them to play on Sunday the 31st.
Yeah.
And Texas said no. They're not going to do it. Now, they were also talking, if I read the article correctly, Bobby, Texas also rejected the notion of a primetime game on Saturday.
I don't know how they can do that.
I don't know how they can do it either. I can understand we're not moving to Sunday. I get that. You can say we're not doing
moving
that.
the day. I'd have to see how the contract's written.
Right.
But the fact that you could say we're not going to play on that day. We agreed to play on this date in the future. We're not going to move off of it. Even though I think Ohio State, I don't know how that worked with Virginia Tech. Remember they played that Memorial Day?
I do remember that, yeah.
That Monday night.
Labor Day, yeah, Labor Day.
Yes, Labor Day. I keep saying Memorial Day, Labor Day. I've got Memorial Day on the mind set off. But so Ohio State, I think, had to make some concessions. They had to agree to play on that Monday night to be able to do that. That was the infamous Braxton spin move.
Oh, yeah. Joystick.
But I guess Texas, they don't want to play here at night or in the afternoon or whatever it would be. I mean, it's a more of an advantage for Ohio State than it would be for them. And they'll make the argument, we've got to travel back and we've got to do this stuff and everything else. Well, I guarantee you next year, their game will be at night.
And I wouldn't surprise if they try to do it on Sunday or Monday.
We're not going to do the Ohio State. Like, okay, well, if you don't want to play this at night, I'm telling you right now, next year we're not playing at night.
Do you think they would do that?
I would. If I was Ross, dude, I'm done with this and playing nice with people. Like, I would just say, we're going to play it on Sunday, and if you want to opt out of it, go ahead and opt out. Have fun finding the first game. We'll just both play 11 this year. I don't care. You can take us to court. We can figure it out from there, or you guys can have some stones and play it on Sunday night. And don't give me this crap about whoever. I'm not sure who Texas plays the next week, but I'm pretty certain it's probably not a game that they should lose.
I would guess it is. There's no way they're playing back-to-back.
And by the way, you want to do it next year? We'll play on Sunday night next year as well. Like, we can do two of them. And that way, we'll be traveling back on a Sunday night, but we'll be the only game on. It's Labor Day the following day. It's a national holiday. Most people aren't working that day. We probably will be, assuming that we last that long. And then everybody's happy. But that Sunday night slot with no NFL on, the Sunday prime time, Labor Day weekend, is a great slot to play a football game, a college football game between two big-time teams.
I think you're underestimating. We probably should have done the research first. Texas's opponent after Ohio State is actually San Jose State. So they got to prepare for that one. Then they got UTEP and Sam Houston. Like, that's a really big grind.
What are we talking about? It's the same thing. Like Ohio State, who they play? Grambling or Ohio University? One of the
Grambling's
two.
next, then OU for them, yes.
So you're on a 1 week, one deal shorter, and you've got to come back. I understand it's suboptimal. It's not the greatest thing, but you're also putting your program out there and product out there in a premier time slot that everybody's going to be watching, and it will draw huge numbers. It's the rematch of the semifinal that had an iconic finish. That thing would be huge. The publicity that you would get for that would be tremendous.
Bobby, this is where I look at it like maybe it's not ideal for Texas to play on Sunday. It is best for college football.
It is, and that's the point of it all.
Would they do 20 million viewers if they played Sunday night?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah, I think they would too.
I think there's a chance they do $20 million if they played Saturday night.
You might be right about that. Yeah,
there's a chance that's going to be one of the biggest games, especially Sunday night in town. It'd be basically the biggest thing going on. I 20's high. That's CFP range.
Yeah.
But I think that there's that would be well within the realm of possibility to be able to do that, especially it'd be on Big Fox. It's on broadcast, not even on cable, which that does matter now. And I guess you have to factor in like all the elements of consumption because there's people that stream it and do whatever.
Right.
But I think you would have over 20 million sets of eyeballs on that thing, minimum 15, probably in that high teens, but I think hitting 20 or surpassing it is in play.
I feel like, Bobby, this is a cowardly move by Texas, as opposed to embracing the fact and saying, you know what, we go to Ohio State and get a win on Sunday night in front of all those people. What's it going to do for our recruiting and our brand if we can go in there and do that?
Well, it's not even like the brand. Texas is Texas, but like the recruiting and the visibility and the eyeballs, like it would be massive.
But instead, they also could come in here and get and lose and look bad against Ohio State. With
so if you're going to pay scared money,
I know that's what I'm saying.
Man.
That's the way I look at it. That's what I think is going on there.
Living in a world of like the downside of what's the worst thing. I understand, like, and I can use that calculus all the time making decisions, but when ultimately it comes down is what do I have to gain?
Yeah.
Is that substantially more than what I have to lose? Like if Texas comes in on Sunday night and gets beat by 24 points and look like a mess, yeah, that would be bad. Odds are, even if you lose, it's probably going to be within 10 points in a one-possession game late in the game. I think that would be the anticipation of it. And so you lose that game unless Sark, can't count to figure out how to make to kneel the ball out and they turn it over at the end.
Yeah.
Or they have some egregious coaching error. I mean, it's a win for you.
If I wonder, Bobby, like you said that Ohio State should say next year if Texas wants to move it to night or wants to move to a Sunday game, that we should tell them to go to hell and no way to do it. I almost go the other way. I wish Ohio State, Ryan Day, and Bjork were so cocky that they would say, yeah, we don't care. I know you care about playing at our place at night on a Sunday. We don't care about playing at your house on a Sunday. We can do that.
The only reason I feel that way, but the only reason I would use that as leverage is to say, listen, man, that we're not doing this to get this year done, to make everybody happy, make me happy.
Right.
I'm concerned mostly about me, to tell you the truth. That's who my main area of concern is.
WIIFM. What's in it for me?
I'm not as self-centered as you, but I mean,
don't do that. No, Bobby, just admit it. You're self-centered like I am.
Well, I want a night game. I want a game in a great schedule so that the school that I really enjoy, I can enjoy that game more, and it'll be more beneficial to the school.
Yeah.
So those two things are mutually exclusive. I'm not going to sit here and say, well, I've got a wedding that evening, so I don't want it to be played at night and be a selfish a-hole like that. That's not what I'm saying. What's good for the goose is good for the gander in this situation.
Should college football make a bigger effort that weekend in general to try to get marquee games like Ohio State, Texas, great. Notre Dame, I'm excited about that.
I'm looking for things to watch.
Yeah, give me a triple header on Sunday. You know what I mean? Give me three, or even if you want to do it, give me 3 Big Ten games on Sunday. If you want to do that, conference games, I don't care if you want to but just do marquee games though, instead of just having one on Sunday at night and then one on Monday. I mean, they should own that entire weekend.
Yeah, the NFL's giving it to you. They don't give you much.
Right.
Take what they're going to give you.
Yeah. What else we got? Jake Diebler, by the way. We talked about this yesterday with Adam Jardy and the Ohio State.
Jarded on.
With Adam Jardy of Columbus Dispatch. And about Darian Williams. There was talk that Ohio State was one of the front runners. They weren't one of the 3, but Jardy told us he'd be surprised if Darian Williams from Texas Tech does commit to Ohio State, and he was right because he is at NC State is where he went. He took NC State over Kansas and Ohio State. I wonder how Joe Lunardi will make that affect his rankings. But that's a guy I was really hoping Ohio State would be able to grab, Bobby, and the team as constructed could still be fine. A big part's going to be on the health when the season starts for them. But I wanted this Darian Williams kid, so I'll chalk that up as a loss, not getting him. But still, I'm confident this roster is better than last year's roster.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I would say last year's roster was probably more talented than this year's roster, but do the pieces fit? And does that talent, as we talked with Jardy about this, does the potential turn into production?
Yeah.
They have a roster right now that has more production on it, albeit maybe it's smaller schools and maybe it's not the 5-star guys that are here or there not playing, but they're guys that have actually scored and gotten rebounds and had assists and played in basketball games in the college level and played really well.
I want to ask you this question, Bobby, and I realize before I say it, I might get ridiculed for it, but that's a lot of the things.
They always say there's no stupid questions set off, but you've constantly found a way to push the boundary.
Push the envelope on that one. The Bengals are still upset with Cincinnati, actually with the state of Ohio in a lot of ways, because they want money for a stadium.
Yeah, of course.
Their lease expires.
I'd like to have, you know what? I got some home renovations I'd like the city to pay for. Where do I send that bill?
I don't know.
Can I get some state dollars too?
You should be able
Maybe
to.
they'll do it, get the county involved. We'll all pitch in, and then they can build Bob a pool or something in his backyard. And then I'll charge people to come to the pool, but I'll say it's a public benefit.
The Bengals' current lease expires.
I just want you to think about that scenario that I just painted out there.
I'm with you, Bobby. No, listen, I hate it when owners ask for money from governments. I hate that. If you can't afford the team and can't afford the stadium, get the hell out of the business. Paycor Stadium's lease expires June 30th, 2026. The Bengals have an option to extend their lease by 2 years, but they have to exercise that by June 30th of this year. If they don't, they can move after this season. Okay?
All right.
They can move after this. They've been seeking funding from the state of Ohio because either with stadium improvements and potential relocation maybe and whatnot.
You're a Steelers fan. I mean, do you want your state tax dollars going there? I'm assuming you pay state taxes stuff. Is that correct?
Are we still supposed to do it when you turn 50? I haven't done it for a few years, but maybe I need to check into that. The St. Louis has been named as a potential city that would have interest in the Bengals. Nashville.
Of course they would.
Nashville's another one. What would...
Nashville?
Yeah. No, not Nashville. Not Nashville.
I was going to say...
No, San Antonio. I'm thinking San Antonio.
Okay.
San Antonio.
All right. Yeah, because both of those places have stadiums
yes.
already built and ready to go.
Is there...
I can tell you right now, Jerry Jones would never let a team go into San Antonio. But they could try.
Is there any way they could move to Columbus?
I would have to see. I know baseball has like all the right stuff set up where teams can and can't move. I would have to take a look at that and see how that would look.
Let's say that wasn't a
I
hurdle.
know the Haslams would battle that till the
Absolutely
death.
would. But the Haslams trying to move their team, but it's still in Cleveland, but it's like, 15 miles away at that the place they want to go, Brook Park or whatever it's called.
Well, the Steelers would probably fight it. I mean, there would be, I think, a number of battles that would ensue with that.
Because,
proximity.
Yeah, but I can't believe Pittsburgh's that. I mean, Cincinnati's, how far is Cincinnati from Pittsburgh? I know it's a little bit further, but it's not.
You just start encroaching on markets,
Indianapolis as well.
Like if Cincinnati was in Columbus,
right,
you would have to imagine that they would always draw the Columbus programming.
Yeah, you would think that. That's fair. Yeah, so you wouldn't have as much.
So you would never have Cleveland on as much at all unless it was offset. And there are times when Cincinnati and Cleveland were both bad, and Pittsburgh, and there was like one of them was off, and they put Pittsburgh on.
I don't know if that 2 years from now will matter.
Well, by the way, where else are you going to put them? You going to play in the shoe?
I don't know. That's what. Maybe that's the biggest hurdle.
You're going to write the $1 billion check for the new stadium?
No.
Okay, just checking. I'm just trying to find the dollars.
But you can chip in.
Why would I want to chip? They can give me some ownership of the team. Why do I feel obliged to pay to give people who own an NFL franchise more money?
Oh, especially a franchise too cheap to build an indoor training facility.
Well, they do have one now, but yes, for like 30
But Ohio
years.
State would fight it too.
Yeah, probably.
I think they would because Ohio State wants people spending money on Ohio State.
Oh, yeah.
NIL and all these different, the collectives and all those things right there. And if all of a sudden people say, well, I can either spend money here or spend money with the Columbus Bengals, that might be another one there.
The advertising. Oh, yeah, it would be fought. I don't think you would have people that would sign up to try to move them here. Maybe some of the city and other things like that, but you would have to get a stadium, which that's not going to happen. There'd be heavy resistance from a lot of other owners. You can see that happening. And so, like, they can saber rattle all they want. If they want to go to St. Louis, they could. But the reality is they just sold the naming rights to Paycor a couple years ago.
Right.
It was Paul Brown Stadium forever. And listen, that's fine. But don't tell me you need money to help rebuild your stadium when you're not selling off to advertising naming rights to it because you want it to be named after your dad.
Right. Yeah. I don't think it would happen. I was trying to think of what the hurdles will be because
I just outlined them for you.
No, I know. That's why I asked you, Bobby. That's why I brought that up to you because I knew you would have the answers to that one. If the NFL, if all of a sudden in a new world you can have one team in the state of Ohio, that's all you can have, wouldn't they go for Columbus?
In a new world?
Yeah. I would
probably.
I would think Columbus is the most attractive.
Yes, it's a city that's growing.
Yeah.
You know, you would probably say that. Is there enough industry at a high level to support it financially? Most likely. I mean, you look how Ohio State's supported. And so I guess that would be your parallel there.
Right.
So I would think that, yes, that would be the case.
The Browns seem intent on building a dome in Brook Park. Moving, I don't know, I think it's about 15 miles away from where they're 15 minutes southwest of the city.
The mayor said he doesn't care.
If they do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't, I understand why you want to have a dome, Bobby, if you're a team, if you're an owner. I understand why you want to have a dome because you have year-round things you can do there. Maybe host a Super Bowl at some point, or at least
they'll give you a Super Bowl if you get a dome.
Or host, NCAA Final Four stuff, whatever. You can do all those things if you have a dome. So
National
I get
championship game.
Yes, I get it all. I do. But the weather is such a way to identify with the Browns.
Well, okay. This coming from the guy that says, I want to see weather in the games.
Absolutely. No doubt
so
about it.
there's already a lot of inherent bias there. So just identify your biases.
I don't think it's inherent bias. I think it's just slanted opinion a little bit, which I guess you're going to tell me is the definition of bias. But that's one of the things, though, it's like the Vikings used to be when they played at the old Metropolitan Stadium. And you see that.
What I mean, that's 2 stadiums ago, Thedoff.
I know it is. I know, Bobby.
How old are you going to be here?
I'm going to sit here in probably my wheelchair in about, 2 to 10 years, and I'll still be saying that, hey.
Back when the Vikings were at the old Metropolitan Stadium.
No domes. I hate domes for baseball, and
If you're going to build a stadium, though, here's the thing.
Yeah, I know. You got to do it that way.
Because I know they have to, make sure the weather and everything, but I'm like, if it's cold, you can open the dome. No one ever does.
Right.
But you can open it for cold weather events.
Yeah.
And so you could just have a commitment to that. And so we're going to open it for all football games unless it's raining.
Right.
And that way we can also utilize it for other things during the year.
That was great in Dallas with the old stadium they had.
That old stadium sucked.
No,
it smelled like a dumpster. It was hot as hell. There was no air movement in it. It was brutal. The turf was awful in it.
On TV, it was glorious. I couldn't smell a thing. That opening up there, you'd see the sun coming through.
I used to walk down that ramp, and I would have to hold my breath for about a minute and a half while I smelled the garbage as I walked down that thing. It was awful.
It smelled like football, Bobby.
No, it didn't smell like football. It smelled like a hobo encampment.
It smelled like football.
It was awful.
I don't know, Bobby. In Dallas, it was great because it could be raining on the players, and all the fans are dry.
Yeah,
which is exactly what I like.
But because of that, there was no air movement in the stadium. And so it's like a hot air balloon inside. It was awful. You would just be dripping sweat all the time. Now, we played most of our games in the afternoon time slot. Right. And because of that, did the opposition get the sun the whole game? Yes. So at least we were in the shade for that. But yeah, it was not a glorious place to play. People want to talk about how great those stadiums are. I mean, it was the same as all those other crap dome stadiums that were built. There were just those giant circles, and that just had a hole in it was the only difference.
Why do you have to ruin my childhood?
Because you sit here and you want to romanticize everything. I'm just telling you the facts.
I don't want the facts, Bobby. I want to be delusional about it because I'm telling you, watching that on a Sunday when they were playing the then Washington Redskins with Summerall and Madden doing it, it was one of the most beautiful sights in the entire world.
Well, back then the stadium was probably a lot newer, so it may have been a little more beautiful.
Landry on the sideline, like that.
Looking
right there.
miserable.
No, looking
Stone-faced.
dapper.
Stone face,
unfazed.
Parcells used to always call him Stone face.
Did he really?
Yeah.
All right.
Not knocking him as a coach.
Just say he did.
He was emotionless during the game.
Coming up next,
have some fun, man.
We'll tell you what's got us juice. This is Morning Juice.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. I know firsthand what it's like to battle through joint pain. After years of the hard hits and the wear and tear on the field, I thought pain, it was just going to be something I had to live with. Let me tell you, that's no longer the case thanks to QC Kinetics. For over 8 years, QC Kinetics has been leading the charge nationwide in non-surgical joint pain relief, helping over 50,000 patients get back to doing what they love, pain-free. Whether it's your knees, back, hips, shoulders, you pick it. If joint pain's been slowing you down, you need to hear about what Dr. Aaron Walkoff and his team in Columbus are doing. They're using cutting-edge regenerative medicine, natural biologic treatments with powerful healing properties to repair and restore damaged joint tissue. No surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. Just real results. The kind of treatment I wish I had access to during my playing days, and now you do. Imagine this summer playing around a golf, chasing the kids, and just enjoying a walk without the pain. Go to qckinetics.com/Columbus or call 380-2845-44. They now have offices in Grove City and Canal Winchester.
Hey, Max, you look absolutely dashing in that purple tie. Ready to harness the world?
You bet, Daisy. I'm ready as I'll ever be. And might I say, your purple tie really pops with your vest.
Thanks. I almost went with a cape, but didn't want to come across as pretentious.
Nonsense. Anyone in our line of work should rock a cape.
You might be onto something, Max.
Phew, so here we go. First day on the job. We've got this, right?
Right. Don't forget, we both graduated from Dogs Inc. with honors.
Which means I can guide my human around a busy city with ease.
And I can give my human a restful night.
I hope my human is kind and loving.
And I hope mine likes wet kisses and zoomies.
Ready to make a difference?
Born ready. Let's go.
Discover how extraordinary dogs like Daisy and Max change lives at no cost to the recipients. Visit dogsinc.org.
In honor of all those we've lost to cancer and those still fighting and thriving, like basketball analyst and cancer champion Dick Vitale.
I want to beat cancer. I'm going to beat it. That's no doubt in my mind. I'm going to win this battle.
Defeating cancer will take all of us. Join our team to help fund game-changing research that saves lives. At the V Foundation, V is for victory over cancer. V is for victory over the odds. V is for victory over health disparities, victory over setbacks, victory over the unknown. V is for victory over giving up.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Donate to the V Foundation to join our team and help save lives.
Cancer can take away all my physical abilities. It cannot touch my mind, it cannot touch my heart, and it cannot touch my soul.
100% of donations fund game-changing cancer research. Donate now to the V Foundation at v.org.
Tito has had 2 wives. They've both been named Heather. If you know someone named Heather, please warn her. This is Morning Juice.
Never gets old, Bobby. The Heather's joke. Never gets old.
Oh, it's a joke you're living in.
Do you, we did the thing yesterday about, does Bobby have this person in his phone?
Yeah.
Do you have my wife's number in your phone?
I don't know if I've saved it yet or not. I know I've been on group text with her.
Right.
I'm terrible that if I get a text from someone and it's like right there, we're going back and forth.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to save that. And then sometimes I just don't.
Right.
And that happened. I was actually texting with Shark's wife about some things, Jan, and I couldn't find the text then.
Right, yeah.
I was like scrolling through, and I'm like, where is this? And I was like trying to search it and everything else, and thankfully she called me. She's like, I apologize, I don't want to bother you. I'm like, it's fine. I was like, I meant to text you back. You texted me when I was at a really busy time. I saw it, read it, meant to get back to you, didn't, couldn't find it on the way back in. I didn't save your number. So that's my fault.
I'm awful at that too. And I'm awful at remembering names of people after I meet them. I've got a couple of numbers in my phone that says like the kid's name is Dad.
Yeah.
Because I can't remember what the dad's name is.
I put usually I may put it with the kid and the dad. I'll put it all in the notes.
Or put in the job or whatever, position. Yeah.
Before I met my wife when I was in college, the numbers I had in my phone and the naming situation that would come down when you're meeting somebody at 12:45 on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, maybe a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
And trying to remember that and hoping you put the number in correctly.
Right.
And then naming it correctly and getting their name right as well. A lot of things going on there.
I'll be like Jimmy, and then it'll say like has a huge head, so I'll know when I see him that's who Jimmy is.
Big Head Jim.
Big Head Jim, right? But I gotta make sure I'll say it to him out loud. Okay, let's do what's got us juiced.
What's got you juiced?
Sponsored by Billiards Plus. Find your next grill and everything you need for the master griller. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Bobby, what has you juiced? Are you going to do you first?
No, yeah.
All right, let's do that.
It's me first on Friday. What's got me juiced? Well, it is a Friday. It's the second full week of the show. Much less hiccups today than there were the first week. I don't want to start patting him on the back already, but Nathan's done a pretty good job today.
Yeah,
so we still got about a half hour left, so hopefully we don't find a way to crash on the landing. But other than that, it's been pretty good, so that's been exciting. It's Memorial Day weekend coming forward, and, just a couple things with that. Number one, just hope the weather's not going to be great, but you know what? You live in Ohio. We don't have to deal with the real bad stuff, so just appreciate the fact it's going to be a little chilly and maybe not as warm as you would like, and that's okay. Make sure you find a way to commemorate those who gave their lives in service of this country, and those that are still serving. If you can see them, thank them. But the people that gave the ultimate sacrifice, they've given up their families, and their families gave them up, rather, to be able to have some of the freedoms that we possess today. It's something that is wholly unique to America. And so please make sure that you honor them and commemorate them. It is not a celebration. You do not celebrate death. You commemorate those individuals. That was what Bill Belichick instilled upon us during our
I love
final
he did
OTA.
that.
Oh, it was
That's
great.
a great lesson. That's a great story.
He had the rookies. He made them go in and stand up, and they'd have to talk about it, and they kept getting it wrong. And so they had to keep meeting with our player development director every morning at 6 a.m. before our team meeting to make sure that they could get that, and then all the federal holidays as well, and when they were started, the symbolism behind them and everything else, and what they stood for. So make sure you get out there and commemorate and enjoy it and celebrate those awesome freedoms we have that were paid for with other humans' lives. And then also on that Memorial Day, I don't know how many times this has happened. It's fallen like this. On May 26th in 2004, I was privileged enough to meet my wife and have her say yes to go on a date for the first time. So we went to the Champs at the Lenox, and since then, we've always tried to do that. There's been a couple years we've been in other places, other cities. There was a Champs in Dallas that was not far, so we would go there for that then. But since we've been back, we'd always try to hit up a lunch or something on what I call our date anniversary. It's been 21 years now that we have since that first date. And they finished Capitol Grill this year, which is in the location of the old Champs.
Right.
So I asked her, like, hey, you want to go to Capitol Grill on Monday? Go get something to eat? And she said, why?
Oh, come on. Courtney.
So, it's all right. It's fine. I guess I know who the romantic is in our relationship, and that's fine. But she did then, I think, put it together and figure it out. So I think we're going to head over there at some point, whether for dinner or lunch or just a drink. Who knows?
When you go out there.
Do I wear the same shirt that I wore on our date? Yeah,
no, I'm not going to ask that.
I still have it.
Do you forget your wallet on purpose like you did the first time?
Well, it doesn't matter at this point in time because whether it's, we have one, all our credit cards are joint. So
I got you.
It's all, maybe I will do that just to
make it
ironically, the outfit that I wore on that first date.
You still have it.
The shirt. I have the shirt. It's a nice this Abercrombie brown and blue striped shirt that I wore. I have the sandals, the Birkenstock sandals that I wore that I got in 8th grade. They've gotten a lot of miles on those bad boys. I haven't worn them as much lately, but they're coming back. And so I told my kids, I still got a pair of the OGs right here. And the shorts, unfortunately, they got a lot of wear out of them, and I wore the crotch out of it. And so I had to probably...
There's a joke to make there. I'm not going to make it,
it's
though.
Fine. But I had to probably toss those, I don't know, back in like 2010, 2011. Okay. They ended their useful life.
The shirt thing's incredible. The fact you can still wear your same shirt from 21 years ago.
I can wear all my same clothes. I'm the same way I was when I graduated high school. So I actually cycled back to some of those because all my other clothes are too big. But yeah, so I've got that same shirt, which actually fits a little looser now because that was for me when I was 21, and I probably weighed about 255. So we'll go do that, have fun on Monday. And Now it goes, Nate, you got a Schlegelism for us.
In business, finance is the sports tech for sales and ops and marketing. That's what it is.
Facts.
Facts. It's facts. I mean, yeah. Think about it. Sports science validates that the work of your strength and conditioning program is working. And then you look at the numbers, and then you apply it to the individual as to what's wrong with you.
I love it. He's very entertaining. And I always like to tell Schlegs facts, so he'll just throw that out there. And then when you text him something that he really likes,
right,
he'll send you back the fax emoji.
Yeah.
FAX facts.
So for me, Bobby, what's got me juiced is George Mercado. Now, years ago when my brother moved...
Did he develop mercantilism?
No, he didn't. But years ago when my brother moved out to the D.C. area, I can't remember how many years ago it's been, but it's probably been 25 years when this happened. And went out there with my mom and sister for a visit, and we did some of the touristy things around there, and we ended up going to visit the Vietnam Wall. And my mom had friends from high school who had perished, and so she wanted to see some of their names on the wall and whatnot. Anyway, we're walking through there, and I don't know any of the names personally on the wall. There are no relatives that I knew of that had suffered their demise there during the Vietnam War. But my brother and I are walking through. My brother's about the same size as me as far as height-wise.
Did you do an etching of Bubba?
No, but there was a couple of women that were shorter, and they were trying to reach up to get an etching of somebody. And my brother and I saw that, and we said, "Here, let us help you."
So you went and
just
lifted them up from behind inappropriately, touching them?
We did the etching, and it was George Mercado.
Okay.
And these women were so emotional that we did it, and that we gave to them. And like I say, it's like 25 years ago, Bobby. The name still sticks with me. Especially on Memorial Day. It doesn't leave me. He's from New York. He was from New York. He died at the age of 20. He was a Lance Corporal in the Marines. And so I always take time on this day to pause and think about that and how fortunate we are to be here and how thankful I am for the people that did come before us and did put themselves in harm's way, and some of those men and women did not come home. So every Memorial Day, I think of George Mercado. You can go on, like, if you do a search on people, you can go on and get like an etching sent to you from somebody if you want to. I had one sent to me for George, and I've never never seen those people again, never had any communication with the mom and sister, whatever it was. But it's a moment, though, that like one of the moments that I remember with my brother, I was doing that, and the impact, just a small act of kindness, the impact they had on these women because they were afraid they weren't going to be able to get it. So that's George Mercado is what has me juiced today, Bobby. So
that's pretty awesome. I mean, I thought when you said that, I was like, is this someone that I'm supposed to know the name of?
Yeah. No, hey, look, anytime I start something, you got to assume there's some kind of punchline. But yeah, not on this one, though. One of the rare occasions where there's not a punchline on it.
You want to play some Matty P?
Let's do some Matt Patricia now. Let's talk Patricia, the new, I said it weird there, but Patricia, though, the new defensive coordinator for Ohio State, he talked about going out on the road and recruiting. Let's hear that, Nathan.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys having me on. I'm super excited to be here, and thanks for inviting me. This is awesome. Recruiting has been a whirlwind, man. 3 weeks of the entire country. I think I've been from Seattle to DC to LA to Orlando. It's been really fun, though. I mean, it's great to get out, see the guys. Interesting for me, I haven't been around high school football in a very long time, but to see the different states, what's allowed, practices. We were in Georgia, and man, there was a full-on scrimmage at 6:30 in the morning. We were from 6:30 till 8:30 in the morning. They're tackling, full scrimmage. I was like, this is wild right now. It was unbelievable. So pretty cool. Great just to get out and see the kids and get around the high school coaches and talk with them a little bit too. So it's been a lot of fun.
So he seems to have brought, not that Knowles didn't have it, but he seems
Knowles
to have
didn't go out and really recruit.
I'm just saying the energy.
Yeah.
And I know that Knowles was kind of a little bit lower voice and, talked more like a grizzled coach who's done it for a long time. But Patricia, though, sounds like he's got some juice to him.
He does. And he's a very positive guy. He relates really well to people. Very excited to have him here. And I think he's going to be an asset on the recruiting trail. Number one, he goes places like people know who he is, he's the head coach in the NFL. He's got a multitude of Super Bowl rings, but he just really relates really well to guys. And so it does, whether that's here with players or whether that's high school guys that you're recruiting, his willingness to go out there and what do you say? He's from DC to Seattle, from LA to Orlando. I mean, dude, that's a box in about the entirety of the country right there. Trying to find and canvassing, trying to find football players. So it's awesome to see him doing that. I know he's stopped on and jumped on with Schlegel. He was actually in his car, I think, in Cleveland. He'd taken a red eye to Cleveland and then was recruiting there yesterday and today. And then
is that what this was from?
Yeah,
for your
from Schlegel and I. We had him on yesterday, and very, very gracious. You want to hear? And so this is one of the things I asked him because he started talking about man, it's crazy. He's from New England, and
right?
He didn't have to recruit much. He didn't recruit all the last 20 years, and so to see some of how the different states operate.
Mm-hmm.
And some of maybe the advantages that they have and how just the players are a little more refined coming out because of how much they can practice. So let's hit that.
I think the guys did a great job. I think everyone really dove into the teaching. A lot of great football, obviously, was played last year at Ohio State, defensively especially. And, we're not trying to just do away with any of that, or we're not trying to change that. We're just trying to build on the things that were done previous. And I would say the biggest difference is probably just the way it was taught. It's just I'm much more of like a conceptual type of teacher, conceptual learning, and where you can take bigger picture schemes and boil them down and teach the group that way. And that's what I think brings the multiplicity to the defense when you can do that, and packaging and calling it a little bit different, more, like it would be called in the NFL, like you guys are used to. Maybe that was a little bit different than what was done last year, but the enthusiasm by the players, the coaches, to dive right into it, to teach it. The spring was great. It was fun.
So that was on the spring ball and the spring install. Do we have the different, like the high school advantages varying from state to state?
With Patricia, the way he looked on camera when he was with the Lions.
Yeah. Well, he's lost probably 50 pounds and he shaved his beard down.
Yeah, he looked like almost angry and just unapproachable is the way he was presented. But hearing his voice now and looking at the way he looked, it's pretty cool to see that. Like, I'd never heard his voice before he got to Ohio State.
So we got AJ coming up.
Right.
But this was the difference in some of the states, because having lived in Florida and Texas and, seeing how different places operate, I think Matt was pretty blown away with how everything looked in different states.
You go to Texas, Georgia, Florida, the schools that we've been to that have just that more on-the-field football time, the football class work. You can see them just, they're probably just a little bit ahead of everybody else. I mean, just to be honest with you, as far as what they're able to do, whether it's fundamental technique work, sometimes it's even just scheme-wise. They have that extra time, and we all know more time on task, the better you get. So I do think it is an advantage for those places, those states that allow that. One of the other crazy thing too, I completely did not know, is that in the springtime for your spring game, you can actually play another team. So there was, guys that we were visiting that were getting ready to play a spring game, last week and this week against another team. And I was like, it blew my mind. And I'm like, is there rules of engagement? Are we not hitting the quarterback? Are we not doing kickoffs? Like, what are we doing? They're like, no, we're just going to go play a game. I was like, this is wild. This is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's wild to think like you would play a game and it's a scrimmage, but in high school you do that. And like,
sure.
Hey, do you hit the quarterback? Do you not? Quick whistles on some certain things. But in that point, you're in the spring, so you've got a lot of time to be able to get healthy should someone get injured. So there's more of that. You can go to my YouTube show with Anthony Schlegel, the Bobby Carpenter show. We've sat down about 20 minutes with him, and there was more to it. Really good stuff from our guy, Matt Patricia, defensive coordinator at Ohio State.
Coming up next, we'll close out the week the best way we can. AJ Hawk on Morning Juice.
While serving in Vietnam, a grenade took my ability to see. Today, I'm a sculptor. Now, my fingers are my eyes. I'm Michael Naranjo. As a veteran, I know the challenges of life can be great. In my art, turning a lump of clay into something beautiful, that is worth doing. Life is like that. We each must use what we can to make things better.
DAV helps veterans like Michael get the benefits they've earned. They help more than 1 million veterans every year in life-changing ways.
Now, I show others how they can create something with their own hands. I know it can do a lot of good. With support from DAV, more veterans can shape their lives into a thing of beauty. My victory is bringing beauty into the world.
Michael Naranjo, may your victories inspire many more. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
You know what hope is? Hope is action. Carving a path forward, even when it's hard.
And kids who still know how to dream. They're the best pathfinders of all.
So at Child Fund, hope means helping millions of children living in poverty worldwide to grow up healthy, educated, skilled, and so all those good things can come true for them. Safe.
And that means safe at home, safe at school, and safe online.
Hope means walking this path together. All of us. Because when we work together, we can do so much more.
That's right. Hope includes you.
Child Fund, because we need each other.
To learn how Child Fund works with children in 23 countries to help them achieve their full potential, visit childfund.org. That's childfund.org.
Hey guys, 13-year NFL veteran and Super Bowl champion Jason McCourty here, and I'm the Innovation Ambassador at FAIR, Food Allergy and Research Education. I would say the most challenging thing as a parent of a kid who has a food allergy is probably the ignorance that I myself had in the beginning. I didn't know what anaphylactic shock was. I didn't know the dangers, let alone the things that she needed to be able to have a normal life. When you go to drop your kid off, and every single time in the beginning, we'd have to go through everything she was allergic to. Preparation is everything. And me, for playing football for 13 years, it was all throughout the course of the week. It's getting ready for game day. When you're on the field, you're playing for your fans. At home, you're playing for your family. My playbook, read labels, keep it allergy friendly, and have an epinephrine nasal spray as a backup plan. Because when my family's safe from food allergens, that's the real victory. Visit foodallergy.org to learn more.
Tito invited the new Russian family who moved in down the street to watch Rocky IV. It did not go well. I must break you. This is Morning Juice.
Morning Juice, final segment of the program, final segment of the week. And this guy, everything all week long is nothing but opening acts. It's now time for the headliner.
A man with many career achievements. Leading tackler in Centerville football history. Leading tackler in Green Bay Packers history. Still afraid of Larry Knopfsinger. And the crowning achievement, the third member of the Island Boys, A.J. Hawk.
A.J. Hawk joins us now. A.J., this is our last show before Memorial Day because we're not doing a show on Memorial Day. And, you know, when I first watched you and Carp and Schlegs grow out your hair, I always thought you guys were just some, you know, hippie nonconformists with no respect. And I then find out years later, and maybe it was reported then, I just didn't see it, but Bobby tells me you guys had a special reason for growing your hair out that has something to do with this holiday this weekend. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you know, you rightfully so. You weren't the only one to think that, we were just, like disrespectful and hippies and trying to go against the grain or whatever by growing our hair out. It wasn't as common, I guess, back then, like 2004 when we started growing it. But yeah, Pat Tillman, obviously a guy that, died serving our country. He was a great football player and volunteered and went over. And unfortunately, he died, in the military in the middle of a great NFL career. But the guy was just awesome. And talking to people that knew him and listening to stories about him, he seemed like just the absolute man. So we all loved that guy, and that was part of the tribute, I think, growing our hair out. And it's crazy how long it has been since then. But, it was a fun stage, I guess, for a while. Long hair, it's a decent amount of work, to tell you the truth. But, I'm glad we did it.
It's crazy, AJ. It was about 21 years ago because we started growing that kind of after our sophomore year. And I remember joking with Court because when she met me, our little date anniversary is on Monday. I was like, I still had short hair, and I think I got one haircut after we dated for like another year and a half. So I don't know if she was all that happy about that, but it lasted for a while. I was able to get it done, and it's pretty amazing how all that's kind of changed over the last 20 years. What do we have planned up for this weekend? I mean, we got some sporting events, or we got big barbecues planned. Are you going to go celebrate with Chopper and honor him for all his service he's given our country?
I mean, yeah, always will honor Chopper, my father-in-law, in the service that he has done for this country. But yeah, I don't know. We kind of figure it out as we go. I think throughout this weekend, we obviously have games in AAU tournaments and lacrosse and stuff like that. But I don't pay too much attention to what the weather's supposed to be. I know it feels a little bit colder than it has been, but we definitely will be outside and we'll be enjoying this great weekend. I mean, today is the last day of school for all my kids. My daughter had a little 8th grade graduation stuff yesterday. Today is just a quick half day for the kids, and they'll be home, and they're pumped. It's crazy that the summer is already here, but I know from experience, man. All of a sudden, you blink and you look up, and it's the middle of August, and we're in football season, and school is starting again. So we're going to make sure we enjoy this time. I think this summer, and yeah, I think this is a fun weekend. Like, this is what pools are all open, right? Is this when pools open today, tomorrow, whatever it might be? I know it might not be hot enough, but it's always a good time when the pools are opening around the place.
Hey, would you guys have like a little party, some like Jack Daniel's Down Home Punch, Smirnoffs? Like, what was on the
for the 8th grade graduation?
Yeah, like what was on the list there?
No, we didn't host a party or anything. The school hosted the ceremony.
Oh, so they did. I like it. I like that.
Yes, the school did. Yeah, we did not have any Mike's Hard Lemonades or anything for the kids. We weren't really doing that. But Bob, like girls, my daughter, she's 14, 8th graders. They travel in packs. So her 8 to 10 girls, they just pal around together, and they are like a big crew that goes around and rides their bikes and hangs out, and it's fun. They play lacrosse against each other. They beat up my little boys. They play basketball against them, and they're super physical and don't let them make a shot. So it's fun to watch.
Gosh, that's beautiful. This is your oldest. She is now departing. Eversole Middle School will be going to Jerome High School, as I saw Beeb's post. I mean, was there any emotions there for you or for her, knowing that you're now going to have a high schooler? I
mean, I think there's always the threat, the idea of emotions, Bob. With kids, it does something to you. It's weird. But I don't know. I think for me, it's weird. Everyone, I'm sure people I would hope could relate. The phone does it to you when your phone pops up memories of your kids when they're tiny. That's what it is, man. Oh, this day, however many years ago, your phone naturally does that for you. Sometimes I'm like, I can't. I'm not in a situation where I can look at these right now. Like, I'm out in public doing something. I can't be checking out me holding my kids when they're tiny, tiny babies, and to think how crazy fast it has gone. But it does give me perspective of okay, we need to enjoy right now. We need to make sure we are enjoying this and enjoying all the chaos and the craziness. And I think that's something that reminds me. I get reminded of that daily, I think, and catch myself caught up sometimes in the chaos. I'm like, no, man, we got to figure it out of how to have fun with this and enjoy it, because they grow too fast.
When you have hair like you guys had back then in 2004, I got to believe you all just inherently got better with the hacky sack. How did Tressel feel about that? Did he have any kind of comment when you guys are growing your hair out?
Coach Tressel, I don't remember saying much, to me, honestly. He was awesome. He always has been. I had plenty of other people surrounding, not really coaches, but people outside and different media people try to tell me, oh, you're going to look like a punk. You're doing this your senior year, you guys. What are you doing? You look like a thug and whatever. I'm thinking, all right. I think I may have told you guys, whenever anybody told me that, especially back then, I just doubled down. I was like, oh, I'm growing even longer. Even if I was worried about the awkward stage you get when you grow your hair out, where it's just like a big, long, weird bowl cut for a while, I'm going to power through that, and I'm going to be motivated by these people that try to tell me that I look like a thug, or I'm not going to be able to play in the NFL or something if I have long hair. So it just reinforced my belief that we needed to grow it out.
Well, and first of all, the awkward stage is terrible. You basically have to wear a hat every day that off, because there's nothing you can do with it.
Right.
But I remember we found this picture. I don't know who showed it to us of Tress, because Tress had long hair when he was in college.
Did
you remember
really?
seeing that age?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember that. Of course.
Yeah, he had the long hair. So it's he only just cared, listen, keep your facial hair trimmed, keep it moderately neat and look respectful, and make sure your hair is managed and maintained. But he was good with that, I think, for us, because I don't know if we showed it to him or who showed us that, but yeah, we were able to kind of pull that off, and it was a lot of fun. But yeah,
was it played out in the media very much about why you guys? Because I don't remember it, and somebody else in the chat just said they never heard about it either.
Not until like our senior year, maybe a little bit, but there really wasn't like the internet like there was now.
Right. Also, Bob, like we didn't like have a press release, have a press conference, and say like, "Hey, we're growing our hair out for Pat Tillman." Like that was never like a thing we were trying to like promote. I think It just kind of naturally came up when people said it. But yeah, I know part of the reason too. I remember looking back, and Bobby, I've seen pictures of your dad with sweet hair. Like I saw pictures of my dad when he was in college. You know, back like in the 70s.
Yeah,
people all had long hair. So I was thinking like, man, these dudes all had a stage when they had long hair. Like why can't we do that? Like, and there we go. We did for 10 years or so.
That's the window. Like if you're going to grow it, you've got to grow it like in your late teens,
Can't do it
early
now.
20s. Because someone's like, you ever thought about bringing it back? I'm like, yeah, because that's what the world needs. Is like Kurt Cobain at 45 years old. Like I don't need to be that person anymore. And I know that you don't either. Age, you were the first. I think. Well, did you cut yours before Schlegs, or did Schlegs cut his first?
I think that's a good question. I don't even remember the timeline, Bob. To tell you the truth, I'm not sure.
Well, because you're not worried about the past, Age. You're more looking at the future. Do you feel like you have you ever been like told or talked to anybody? I know that we've got a friend that feels like he's been kind of blessed where he can kind of prophesize and see the future. Have you felt like you've had that blessing?
That I can see the future?
Or kind of will things into existence?
Sometimes I absolutely feel that way, Bob. I'm a big, I know there's that book, The Secret, that was popular years ago. I'd actually never read The Secret. I've read some little excerpts from it. But that's like a whole thing. I don't know about you guys, but I know if I'm like watching a game, if I want a certain team to win, I want to watch that game because I feel like I can will the team to win through watching it. If I don't watch it, I have no power over it. But if I watch it, I can kind of control it with my mind.
I like that. That's the same thing like when you do some voyeurism, like you can watch and convince the people in your mind what can happen. But the reason I bring that up is, in 2022, you basically Babe Ruthed it and called the shot for Tom Cruise to go on the show with Pat. And Pat laughed it off and said, that guy's never going to come on our show. And then you had willed it into existence like Nostradamus back in the day. When you said that, did you know? Was there a date that was in your head that you thought that would happen? Or was it just something you say, I'm going to say it, and when I say it, it's going to manifest itself?
I think, it's kind of that. Like, I'm going to put it out there. I felt like, who's not intrigued by Tom Cruise and what that guy has done and what his career is? So, yeah, back in 2022, we were talking, and I felt like, yeah, why not? With the platform Pat has built and everything, yeah, we could get Tom Cruise on here someday. And, it ended up happening 2-3 years after I put it out there, I guess. But I've thrown a lot of names out there, Bob. I'm definitely not 100% on that. I basically – if I think someone would be awesome to come on, I'd say, yeah, of course, let's get him on. And it worked out with Tom Cruise, luckily. But yeah, I'm trying to think who in the future I could try to will to get on there now.
So AJ, the Tom Cruise thing. I played this game with Bobby this week. Do you have his phone number?
No,
okay.
I wasn't even on the call with Tom. They recorded at a time when I wasn't at night, so I wasn't even there.
But you you played a big role in orchestrating this, right?
No, but I put it out there. I said something, and then the people behind the scenes went together and talk to the right people to get it done. But no, I did none of the legwork. I cannot claim any of that.
Well, if Tom Cruise wants to come on Morning Juice, reach out to someone who can reach out to someone and reach out to his people. We'd love to have him on. We can't do a full segment with him because we got a busy show. But if he wants to do like a little 5 to 7 minute thing, we could make some room for him on a show, maybe a Tuesday or a Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm sure Tom would be up to do a little quick 5 to 7 minute hit. Why not? Who knows what part of the world he will be in, but yeah, we'll see what we can do.
By the way, did Pat ask him? I didn't see the whole thing. I saw most of it. I don't think he did. His secret to longevity, like how he has managed to not age, because that's really the genesis of what I want to figure out how to do.
The guy looks unbelievable. I don't think you asked him exactly that. Tom was he was so passionate about like making movies, and it sounds like he has like 15 movies at all times that he's juggling, producing, acting, doing all this stuff. So maybe that's what keeps him young. But yeah, he's 60, right? And the guy he's looked the same for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
He's 60. AJ, he rides motorcycles off of planes into buildings. I mean, it's insane what he's able to do. He does all his own stunts. He's hanging out there on the planes just like a madman. It was absolutely, dude. It was a tremendous job. Listen, I'm going to probably send over some requests of things that I'm going to ask for you to put out there into the universe that I need to have happen in the future. And so just wait for that for me. And you don't have to give me a timeline on when you think it will occur, but I'm just looking for a little bit of a push from someone who's got some powers.
Well, that's good, Bob. All we can do is put it out there, Bob. What's the worst that can happen? They can say no. That's the worst thing that can happen. So yeah, we can manifest the great things, hopefully, that we want in this life. And you and I both know a great friend that we both had and met in college that kind of taught us that and put us on this path.
Gosh, the energy infusions, it's so tremendous.
If AJ had that power, do you really think Bobby was sitting next to me Monday through Friday from 6 to 8 a.m.?
Well, I've never asked him.
I don't think he would be. Anyway.
Of course he would. Bob's not a hostage. Bob volunteers to do everything, to do this.
To hear you two guys talk about wanting tips on how not to age is the most BS thing I've ever heard. Neither one of you have aged.
Don't tell my kids that. They see clips. They'll see stuff pop up. I mean, Dad, look, you look so young, Dad. You look so old now. I'm like, all right, yeah, it's how it works, fellas. I'm not 22 anymore.
By the way, does your daughter, McLean talked some trash to me the other day. She's like, easy there, receding hairline. I'm like, you better watch it.
Oh, shit, really?
All right? I'm like, you're not allowed to talk trash to me about anything, girl. Does Lennon throw some jabs at you?
Yeah, I think that's a healthy, parent-kid relationship. All my kids do is tell me how I'm small, how my knees don't work, and I can't jump, and I can't run. So actually, we had our family over 3 or 4 days ago, and I chased Hendrix, my 12-year-old, through the backyard. Yes. I'm not going to lie. I popped up out of the chair and chased him, and people were like, my family said, wow, I thought for sure you're going to tear an Achilles. And I did. I had a good 10, 12-second sprint after him, and I tell you what, I felt pretty good. I felt like I may be able to strap it up again. But then, I realized real quick, now this is all I got, 10-second bursts.
That's it. But, hey, you showed it to him, and so now he knows you still got it. My dad used to do that to me, and then at some point he's like, I knew I didn't have very much left, so I wanted to just show it to you while I was still here. Because now in your mind, Hendrix is recalibrated. I thought he was just old and slow with a bad knee, but actually there's still a little bit of juice left, even though you maybe thought you were on your last leg.
That's how it goes. Sometimes you gotta show them that you can out crazy them. Whatever they do, you take it to the next step, because then it kind of keeps everybody on their toes. I think it's good for everyone.
AJ, thanks for the time, brother. We appreciate it. Enjoy your long weekend. Good luck with the sporting events.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
You bet. That was AJ Hawk. As usual, we spend time talking to another former NFL great and Ohio State linebacker. We talk about getting haircuts and things like that and seeing into the future. It's perfect topics.
He's like an oracle. If you want something, you just let me know, and I might put it on the list. It'll be after my stuff, but if there's anything you want out there to have happen, I'll see if he can do it for you.
Charlotte thinks Cullen's cute.
Well, I'd hope so. He's my son.
I'm just letting you know. She said to me, I think Cullen's cute.
Okay. I thought that was in the chat or something.
Wasn't in the chat. Nope.
Okay.
Anyway, thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Nate. Great job today. AJ, loved having you on as well, as we always do here on a Friday. Make sure you stick around for, we'll be on 10 TV Plus. You want to watch us back at 10 a.m. And then no show Monday. We're back on Tuesday, though. Morning Juice.
It's been a real journey since 2014 when I first had my injury. I realized that my home was just not working for me and that it was time to ask for help. Homes for Our Troops is really giving me my life back. The shower allows me to go in and turn around with my chair, pull down storage racks, automated door systems, hours of my morning given back to me. Adaptive sports are a huge part of my life, a huge part of my healing journey as well. Homes for Our Troops helped with making sure that I had a home gym so that I can continue to train. This past year, I was able to host Thanksgiving in my home. And it was the first time I was able to have my whole family in one place, and I was able to contribute to the meal. There are a lot more veterans in need, and Homes for Our Troops is going to be there to help them too.
Homes for Our Troops builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post 9/11 veterans and enables them to rebuild their lives. Join our mission at hfotusa.org.
1 in 4 Americans today are living with a disability.
I'm one of them. I care deeply about creating a world we can all fully participate in, free from stigma, misperceptions, and barriers. And we've got a trusted ally on our side, an organization we can rely on, Easter Seals. Rooted in communities nationwide, Easter Seals helps empower millions of people, regardless of age or disability, through its life-changing services and powerful advocacy. Today and every day, Easter Seals is leading the way to full equity, inclusion, and access to healthcare, employment, and education for people with disabilities, families, and communities. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Learn more and get involved at easterseals.com.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other. Leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, Teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.